Hello, good game. I hope you're having a magical day. Thank you so much for taking the time to support the channel. We have Crimson Vow spoilers, new mechanics, new cards, different ways to collect said cards, right? The alternative arts within the set are spicy. And then taking a look also at the Mastery Pass. Make sure to like the video to show your support. Let's get into it. All right, first up, we have the new mechanics. I'll have this article along with all of the other articles linked in the description below if you want to take a look for yourself. Training, first up on the list. Similar to Mentor, however, in reverse fashion. Whenever this creature attacks with another creature attacking with greater power, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. This is great. So if you're an aggro deck, you can help power up your creatures, and as a 1/4 with reach, that's pretty cool. That's going to be a 2/5 with reach, a 3/6 with reach. Holy Toledo's. Talk about a limited banger. Moving on, we have Cleave. Cleave will increase the versatility of the cards in our deck, much like Kicker, allowing for an early game cost and a late game cost, splitting the value difference, right? Dig up for 1, searching your library for a basic land card, revealing it, putting it into your hand, then shuffling. Dig up for 4 via the Cleave cost. Search your library for a card, put it into your hand, and then shuffle, right? So Cleave will allow us to ignore text within square bracketed sections, like you'll see within this card. Cool stuff, right? So, whether we're casting it for 1, looking for that land, or casting it for 4, looking for any card, really, really cool stuff here. Blood tokens are up next. This is an artifact token, just like Clue, like Food, like Treasure. We can pay 1, tap it, discard a card, sacrifice this artifact to draw a card. These tokens will also be used through other cards and their triggers and effects, just like Food, for example. The Gluttonous Guest is an example of this, a 1/4, and whenever it enters the battlefield, create a blood token. Whenever you sacrifice a blood token, you gain 1 life. You'll see the alt art on this as well. Daybound and Nightbound is returning, but only on werewolves. You'll have to see it. We also have werewolves in all colors, I believe they mentioned. Disturb, returning again. This is commonly found on spirits, and it may be specific to spirits, I think. Simba's in studio, a little bit of cat butt for you guys. That's not a new mechanic, right? That's probably not till next one, or no, didn't we have that in Kaldheim? Chariot? Exploit is what I mean to reference, though. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature. Really, really simple. You're only sacrificing 1 creature. The sacrifice will be targeted as the exploit resolves on the stack, which is really cool. If they remove your creature, you can still sacrifice that creature for exploit as it is already on the stack and choose it. However, you have to be careful that you're still getting value from it, right? Moving on. That's it. That's it. That's it. Those are the mechanics. Holy Toledo's. If you want to learn more about them, go through them by yourself. Read all of the ins and outs of them. I recommend you do. But we've got a while to get through everything. Next up, the Mastery Pass is available for purchase today in the Arena client. You're going to get the avatar. You're going to get a bunch of boosters and some IRCs, which is great as well. And then the pet and the sleeves is quite nice. Blah, 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 blah. You'll also get, a whole bunch of sleeves, actually, which is really cool. There's a ton of sleeves available within that mastery tree. We've got the card styles, the event tokens, the golden gems. So if you're spending gems to buy your mastery pass, it's nice because you can continue to roll over those gems that you'll receive from the last. And then the pets. Cool beans. Cool beans. How will you collect Crimson Vow? Well, there's going to be different ways and different things to collect. Personally, I'm going after this Dracula series. So these are alternative arts within the set, much like the Godzilla art from Ikoria. Count Dracula, Sisters of the Undead, Dracula, Lord of Bats, and on the opposing side, Dracula, Lord of Blood. So these are cards already included within the set, which we will be breaking down in depth later on in this video. So don't worry if you can't see what's going on. Castle Dracula is really cool as well. And then you've got the draft boosters, with the alt arts available, which is quite fun. And then the same style of land returning. Set boosters will have the new slot, and there's some new commander cards, 6 rares and 2 mythics within that wildcard slot within the set booster, which is really cool. Wedding Ring is one of those. We'll talk about that again in a second. And then we get the collector boosters. The full art holographics is fully Toledo land. Loving the look of these. And then they're going to show you exactly what you'll get within the collector booster contents, which is great. So you can know exactly what you're getting within these new set boosters, which I really love. I actually just opened a whole bunch of Midnight Hunt ones, which was a lot of fun. And then they're kind of showing you what you'll get, where you'll get them, you know, visually. This is very good for someone like me. So if you're looking for a specific card, you know, make sure to reference this guide so you've got good chances on that, or, you know, maybe even just buy the singleton from your local game store. With that being said, though, we're into the spoilers. The commander cards aren't playable or available within Arena. The commander cards are different from the Brawl cards. Brawl decks may be made for the set. I can't really tell you, right? I don't know. And those cards would be available to play within Arena if you bought them with your wild cards or redeemed a code for that deck if you bought it in real life, right? However, I still want to talk about these cards really quick because they're cool as all hell. Wedding Ring for 4. When it enters the battlefield, if it was cast, target opponent gets to create a copy of it. So you basically become married to this opponent. And whenever an opponent who controls an artifact named Wedding Ring draws a card during their turn, you draw a card. Again, they'll have a copy of this. So the same is going for them based on your actions. Interesting. And whenever an opponent who controls an artifact named Wedding Ring gains life during their turn, you will also gain that much life, which is deadly. So cool. So you're basically mirroring someone's actions. And within a multiplayer match, you get to pick that individual. Cool, 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 cool. We have Millicent's Relentless Revenant. This is a bad boy spirit. Cost less for the spirits you have. Whenever you cast a spirit or attack, you're going to make another spirit, which is cool beans, right? The Progenitor for 4. Whenever, at the beginning of your end step, create a blood token for each player that lost life this turn. Again, really, really good in the multiple player formats. And whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice 2 blood tokens. If you do, you may put a vampire card from your hand into the battlefield, tapped and attacking. It gains indestructible until the end of turn. That's really, really good. That's nice to see there. Oh my gosh. New lands. I honestly did not think that they would include these lands. I didn't think that we would get the ally lands. I really, really, really did not. But here we are. So the mana base in standard is going to be knocking futs. Everybody's going to be running 5-color decks. That's just my opinion. The Blood artifact is here. The Voldaren Estate, which is a new land. Pretty cool. Tap for colorless. Pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color, spend that mana only to cast a vampire spell. So a really nice multicolored vampire land. However, I'm not sure why you'd need it because the land color it's really, really fixed right now. And I don't think you'll need much mana fixing with this current mana base. However, we can pay 5, tap it to create a blood token. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each vampire you control. Right? We can just be tapping it to create blood tokens at will. Again, probably most playable within Commander. Sadly, that is what it is. Yeah, we've got Vampire Tribal decks here, but that's really good in that Commander deck. We talked a little bit about Dig Up with that cleave cost, right? So if you are playing it for the cleave cost, you ignore the words within these square brackets. In this case, basic land and reveal it. So it goes from search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle for 1 mana to search your library for a card, put it into your hand, and then shuffle for 4 mana. Really cool stuff here, right? Moving on, we have Overcharge Amalgam for 4, a 3/3 with flash and flying. Exploit, which is one of those new mechanics we talked about. When this creature enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature. When Overcharge Amalgam exploits a creature, counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. This is not too bad. Really, really cool stuff. It's just a little expensive, but honestly, a creature with flying for 4 that counters a spell. If you like, this is good. This is definitely going to be played within the Dimir zombie decks as far as I'm concerned. This is constructed playable 100%. Savior of Ollenbach for 3. Another bomb 3-drop for white, Wolf. This has training. Whenever this creature attacks with another creature via grade of power, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, right? We mentioned this being the opposite of Mentor, where instead of it being the more powerful creature, it now needs to be the weaker creature. Whenever it trains, exile up to 1 other target creature from the battlefield or creature card from a graveyard. Whenever it leaves the battlefield, put exiled cards back into the battlefield under their owner's control. Okay, so there's Skyclave Apparition, there's Brutal Cathar, and now we have Savior of Ollenbach. That's some incredible 3-drop exiles for mono white. Holy Toledos. Thalia, Guardian of Thabarin for 2. A 2/1 with first strike. Non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. Wolf, I'm pretty sure this is a reprinto, but nonetheless, you know, pretty cool for a mono white aggro deck. I'll give you that much. Tax. Soren the Mirthless, LOL. Pardon my pronunciation within today's video. This is the first time I'm seeing these cards, you guys. 4 mana, 4 loyalty, +1. Look at the top card of your library, and you may reveal that card and put it into your hand. If you do, you lose life equal to its mana value. Woof. This is good in a low-cost aggro deck. We don't want to be losing too much life. -2. Create a 2/3 black vampire creature token with flying and lifelink. So whenever you see a planeswalker that has a creature summon ability, very good, because it will give itself a defender if your opponent is looking to attack in on it, right? So you're going to get to keep that value of the planeswalker to use the plus ability later on in the future while having that creature to defend against it to ensure it survives. And maybe just get general value in the game as well. 2/3 with lifelink is no joke, especially with flying. -7, Soren the Mirthless deals 13 damage to any target, and you gain 13 life. Yeah, okay. That's not too bad. +1 3 times into a -7 for 13 damage. I can honestly see this being used in a Rakdos burn deck. For real, a Rakdos aggro / burn deck. Woo-wee! That's a good card. Moving on, Olivia Crimson Bride for 6 mana. This is a mythic card, so hold on to your bootstraps. 3/4 with flying and haste. Not too bad, but pretty gosh dang expensive. Whenever Olivia Crimson Bride attacks, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Tapped and attacking, it gains when you don't control a legendary vampire, exile this creature. So if they remove Olivia, you're going to lose that creature. That's sad. However, if the creature that it returns is legendary, then it should fulfill itself. Huh? Now, there's an idea. Moving on. That's probably like a... I don't even know. That's so expensive. I can't imagine casting this for 6. That's too expensive. Bloodbat Summoner is a 3/3 with flying, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, up to 1 target blood token you control becomes a 2/2 black blood creature token with flying and haste in addition to its other types. And this will be the backside, actually, of the Voldaren Bloodcaster for 2, a 2/1 with flying. Decent. Whenever Voldaren Bloodcaster or another non-token creature you control dies, create a blood token. Whenever you create a blood token, if you control 5 or more blood tokens, transform it, right? So we'll want to race into those blood tokens to transform this, and then our blood tokens themselves will be transformed into those bats. And again, this could go in that Rakdos aggro deck I'm kind of seeing right here. Moving on, we have Dorethia's Retribution. This will be the backside of the Vengeful Victim. The Victim is a 4/4 for 2 mana. Okay. It also has flying? What? Holy Toledos. Azorius Flyer's back on the menu. Whenever it attacks or blocks, sacrifice it at the end of combat. Mwah, mwah, mwah. There's the turnaround. However, it does have that disturb for 3, which is really nice. And then you'll enchant a creature. Enchanted creature has whenever this creature attacks, create a 4/4 white spirit creature token with flying that's tapped and attacking. Sacrifice that token at the end of combat. If it would be sent to the graveyard, exile it. So actually, I don't even mind this. This is an absolute bomb. 4/4, Holy Toledo's. When it gets sacrificed, you enchant another creature that continuously makes 4/4s that are attacking. I'm game. I'm absolutely game. The Griff Rider, this will showcase training. Again, it's a 2/1 with flying. Whenever it attacks, if another creature attacking at the same time has greater power, put a +1/+1 on the rider. The Sharp Shooter, which is the card we actually did reference earlier. And then the Geist we took a look at as well, which is nice, focusing on those blood tokens. Sigarda's Summons for 6 mana. So expensive with these 6 drops. And enchantments, creatures you control get +1/+1 counters on them and have base power and toughness of 4/4, have flying, and are angels in addition to their other types. That's a very good card, but a very, very expensive card that can be removed with, oh, I don't know, Vanishing Verse for 2 at instant speed. Gulp. The Wrought Tide for 5 mana, which we did showcase via the exploit ability. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature. Whenever it exploits a creature, each opponent sacrifices a creature, which is, you know, not bad. An absolute limited bomb for 5. We won't see this in Constructed, though. The Wary Prisoner, our first werewolf of the set. A 2/6 with Defender for 4 mana as Daybound. Nightbound 6/6 whenever it attacks each combat if able. Which, you know, just a good limited card, I guess. By invitation only for 5 as a rare sorcery. Choose a number between 0 and 13. Each player sacrifices that many creatures. Woof. Massive might. That's all I have to say. Massive might for 1. Instant speed. Target creature gets +2/+2, gains trample until the end of turn. Not that bad, right? That's a little bit better than Charge Through. You know, trample, draw a card. That +2/+2 is really good for the aggro deck. In my opinion, trample for 1 at instant speed is never bad, especially in a limited format. Fell Stinger for 3. This is also known as the Booty Scorpion. A 3/2 with Death Touch exploit. Enters the battlefield. You may sacrifice a creature. When it exploits a creature, target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. Holy Toledo's. We have the Wedding Festivity. Creatures you control get +1/+1. We also have enchanted creature gets +2/+2. If it would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So this is a disturbed backside. This is some sort of backside here as well. It's a day-night situation here. Oh, here's the wedding announcements for wedding festivities. But where does this come from? LOL. So this is a nighttime. It's night because the moon side of something. We'll find the day side here soon. Moving on, the wedding announcements at the beginning of your upkeep. Sorry. At the beginning of your end step, put an invitation counter on wedding announcement. If you attacked with 2 or more creatures this turn, draw a card. Otherwise, create a 1/1 white human creature token. Then, if wedding announcement has 3 or more invitations on it, transform it into the wedding festivities. Creatures you control get +1/+1. So you're going to be making 3 1/1s or drawing some cards, and then those 3 1/1s become 2 2s. It's decent. I don't know how great that is for 3 mana in Constructed. But it's definitely a card. Dominating Vampire for 3 mana, a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature with mana value less than or equal to the number of vampires you control until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until the end of turn. Holy Toledo's! That's a good card. This is going in a deck with the Stormseeker. Stormseeker is going to give haste to the Dominating Vampire. I'm taking your creature as well. It now has haste, and then we're attacking with 3 creatures, which should be very fun. I like this card a lot. An act of treason or an act of whatever. You know what I mean. Steal your creature spell, but you get a creature out of it. So good. The Geistlight Snare for 3 at instant speed. This spell costs 1 less to cast if you control a spirit. It also costs 1 less to cast if you control an enchantment. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. Cool beans. Wedding Invitation for 2. When Wedding Invitation enters the battlefield, draw a card. This is good. This is what we've been missing. Something to use for stacks. A stacks deck. Playing a whole bunch of non-lands and then utilizing them later. Oh, I don't know. Rite of Oblivion, anyone? Play this for 2. Draw Rite of Oblivion. Sacrifice this. Exile their card. Let's go. You can also sacrifice it naturally to half-target creature not be able to be blocked this turn. If it's a vampire, it also gains lifelink. For me, this is just about playing it, drawing a card, and then sacrificing it later with something else, or collecting artifacts. Like if you want to stack up a whole bunch of artifacts for Tezzeret in Historic, you know, stuff like this. So that's what we have. Give me some more, baby. Refresh, nothing. So that's day 1, October 28th. As far as, you know, today goes, there might be some more cards revealed this evening, but we will showcase those in part 2. Don't miss out. Subscribe to the channel, you guys. We're going to be showcasing all of the new content, theory crafting, new decks, stuff like this. Oh, hey, wait a minute. HGG, you missed a couple cards. You went up a row, bro. I'm so sorry. Demonic Bargain. For 3 mana, sorcery speed. Exile the top 13 cards of your library, then search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle. This is terribly bad. However, old sticky fingers. We have different mechanics that require a bunch of things in our grave to be really good. That's one of them. However, exiling your opponent's graveyard is not that difficult. So, I don't know how I feel about it. It's cool in a jank deck, perhaps. Anjay, Maid of Dishonor, 4 mana, 4/5. Whenever it's or one or more other vampires enter the battlefield under your control, create a blood token. This ability triggers only once each turn. We can pay 2 to sacrifice a creature or a blood token. Each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. That is a good card. I really, really like the looks of this as a high-end Rakdos aggro/burn deck. That's playable for sure. Knock the Omnivore, 4 mana, 3/3. Whenever a frog you control attacks, mill 3 cards. Whenever an impermanent card is put into your graveyard from your library, exile it with a croak counter on it. I can't take this seriously. You may play lands and cast spells from among cards you own in exile with croak counters on them. Big old ribbits. You can leap ahead of your competition this way. I like the mill of your own cards. The replayability of them is cool. I'm pretty sure this is just a commander deck or a commander. Same as the Maid, but the Maid is way more playable, in my opinion, than the Frog. But as you have these cards be exiled and the Frog dies in Standard, that would be like game over. But in Commander, it goes to the command zone, or in Brawl to the Brawl zone, right? Whatever. And then you can replay it, which would reactivate all those cards from your graveyard for later on. So, you know, there's good value there. And I'm sure that is all of the cards. We didn't miss any, and we are missing the front side of this. But, you know, in another life, I'm sure we'll see it as we continue. One more refresh. We don't get it, you guys. We don't get it. So, day 1 wrap up. Other than what I already said before we missed those cards, that this is part 1. We'll be coming back for all of the other cards as they're released each and every day. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date on all of that. My favorite cards of the set: Dominating Vampire. Mono red aggro needs a little bit of love. The Maid of Dishonor, I think, is kind of fitting in that Rakdos deck that we've been mentioning a few times. The Fellstinger can definitely go in that deck as well, even though it's a zombie scorpion. A little expensive at 3 maybe now that I think of it, but oh man, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. The Vengeful Victim seemed pretty cool, and the Voldaren Bloodcaster seemed very, very good. Crimson Bride, too expensive for me, really. Sorin seems nice in that burn deck as well, potentially. Thalia in the mono white aggro deck to tax the control decks really, really nicely. And then the all-in block has strict competition through the other 3-drop exile cards, but maybe just run them all, right? And then, you know, Cleave in general is pretty cool. Dig Up, you know, isn't much, but I think that we can see some cool cards with that mechanic in the future. And then the lands. Holy Toledos, these lands are going to make the mana base. Oh my god. Just, you can run whatever deck you want. It's going to be really, really cool stuff. So that's day one. Thank you guys for your time and attention. I really do appreciate each and every one of you who've watched this video to the end. It helps a bunch. Make sure to like it as well. And yeah, just have a magical day. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll be showcasing all of these other spoilers as they continue to roll out through Crimson Vow. Take care, have a magical day, and we'll see you soon in the next.